Alright, so this is something I've wanted to talk about for a long time, an often overlooked aspect of action scenes that can separate the great from the, not so great. Motivation. Most great action scenes you've watched have a clear motivation for each character involved, some goal you can wrap your mind around easily, and can usually be communicated fairly easily through cinematic language. Take, for instance, the action scene from Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Tom Cruise and Mr. Bad Guy want to get that briefcase. The entire fight is centered around this briefcase. If Tom Cruise doesn't get the briefcase, it's established that the clock will run down and eventually a bad thing will happen. It doesn't matter what. What matters is that it will be bad. Meanwhile, Mr. Bad Guy, whose name frankly does not matter, wants the bad thing to happen because, he's bad. So he's trying to keep Tom Cruise from getting to it. This allows for the fight to be always moving. There's no brilliant choreography or anything, but there's a ton of suspense and tension because the stakes and the motivation are clear as day. You also have one of the best action scenes of all time, the one at the end of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Orlando Bloom, British Man, and Johnny Depp doing a parody of his own character all want this key. They're fighting, they're doing all the cool sword fight stuff, the wheel starts moving, all this shit, and it's all cool, but none of it would matter if they didn't have the goal of, okay, they have to get this key. Now, to show you an example of when someone doesn't use this well, I'm kind of going to pick on the 2016 Ghostbusters. To be clear, I actually don't hate it. I don't really like it either, but I think they really could have made something of this movie with better editing, a tighter script, and frankly, a director with a bit more vision. An Edgar Wright directed Ghostbusters movie with the exact same cast and overall plot would have been absolutely brilliant. Anyway, I digress, all of that aside. What matters for the purposes of this video is the movie executed its big action scene very poorly. Near the end of the movie, the heroes need to get to a certain building in order to stop the big bad guy, but the bad guy sticks a bunch of ghosts in between them and him. Now, this is a decent enough setup. They want to be over there, and the ghosts are in the way. The motivation for the scene is well established. So far, so good. The problem is, as soon as the action scene starts, we end up in this Bruce Lee-style circle where it's unclear where the goal even is, and they just fight ghosts endlessly for a few minutes. The movie basically just stops the plot for a few minutes to shove in an action scene for the sake of it, so that they can sell toys of the admittedly neat Ghostbusters inventions. The movie just gives up on being a movie for a while in the middle of what's supposed to be like a tense, goal-oriented finale. So how do you fix this? It's actually really simple. You can literally keep all the exact same elements. The only thing you have to change is how the scene is filmed and choreographed. Keep the goal in the frame as much as possible, or at least, keep cutting to it so you know where they're going and what direction they're moving in, and have the heroes run towards it, taking down ghost baddies all along the way. The scene can be the exact same length, have the same moves and whatnot, but it would become infinitely more engaging if you know what they're trying to do and feel a sense of progression as they get closer. Then, right if they're at the door, you put the biggest ghost minion in their way so they can take it out as a team before running into the building like the funny badasses the movie wants them to come across as. The point A to point B style of motivated action scene has worked quite well before in films such as Oldboy, otherwise known as Reverse Oedipus, Scott Pilgrim, and The World's End. The thing is, I'm fairly certain Paul Feig didn't stop to think about what makes a good action scene. He thought a good action scene was just cool things happening on screen. It's kind of the same philosophy that crappy B-movies have when it comes to filming action. Just have people shooting things and falling down with no real reason for it because, it's cool. That's all you need, just cool things happening in a frame. Then you cut to another frame of other cool things happening. But the fact is, a good action scene actually requires a lot of care and eye for detail, and, there's an actual method to it. You don't just film cool things happening. That's not what makes an action scene good. Anyway, that's my piece on that. I don't have some snappy point to end this on. It's just something I felt was worth addressing that I hadn't seen anyone else cover. If you want to see more videos where I semi-humorously break down why film stuff does or doesn't work, let me know in the comments below, and, consider being a patron. You don't have to, but it'd be cool.